Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I'd like to welcome our new subscribers and thank those of you who are returned for this week's energy update. Before we get started, I do want to dedicate this week's energy update to Katie. Katie was a regular listener to this channel and she has recently passed away after an illness. So we are sending love and light to Katie in her transition, and with the hopes that her spirit will shine as bright as it did while it was on this side, on the other side, continuing to touch us all. Thank you so much, Katie. So let's jump right in. Yesterday, I had some significant issues with equipment, and I'm not sure if it was the Mercury retrograde in shadow, whether it was the Saturn square to this full moon or Mercury's square to Neptune, but I finally decided I would try again this morning. So let's give it a go and see how we do. Earlier this morning, shortly after, I think 4:15, 4:16, something like that, we did have our full moon in Gemini. It is a closeout cycle for the new moon in Gemini that occurred last June 18th to be exact. Any intentions set at that time are closing out. So as I mentioned, full moons are time for culmination or closeouts, letting go of anything that is Gemini-esque as well. There are 6 planets currently in mutable signs. What that means, mutable signs are chameleons. They are the signs that have the ability to shift depending on the energy that is around them. So we are also being asked to adapt, shift, and change as needed based on the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Just go with the flow, right? Gemini's energy is, Gemini is mutable air. Again, changeable air, head, a lot of information, very scattered though, not a lot of depth necessarily, but a lot going on all the time. I almost feel jittery this morning. It's all about choices because of the twins, so we got choices here. But it also can be very chatty. Excuse me. So we're going to try to keep this down to as few words as possible this morning. The Gemini Sagittarius axis is about polarity. So it's the higher mind and lower mind. Also, buddy check-in time. This is the mental health axis. It is the holiday season, so if you have friends or family members that may be facing some challenges, just check in with them. This full moon's energy beginning today, you may have felt it over the weekend as well. It's going to be strong for a couple of days and up to 2 weeks until the next new moon. So just be checking in, if you don't mind, with friends and family that may be at risk or have some PTSD or just depression, any mental health issues whatsoever. Let's step up to the plate and check in on them. Now, the Sun in Sagittarius is still conjunct Mars, and it's fully square Saturn, as I mentioned. So Mars is busting through obstacles while being blinded by the Sun. So Mars actually was ahead of the Sun, now is behind the Sun. So as the Sun and the Mars cross paths, Mars hypothetically deteriorated and then began a new, melted away all previous intentions for that planet, and is now beginning to reemerge fully in a bit of time left yet still, but it's going to reemerge, igniting a 2-year cycle for all that Mars energy. Now, the square to Saturn that I referenced with both the Sun and Mars and the Moon is it's a very good use for us. We need to be able to tap into that Saturn energy as needed, and the square itself can provoke some very strong emotional emotions or triggers that is caused by restrictions, like yesterday, trying to put the video out and just one thing after the other, right? So that frustration, work with it. Invoke that Saturn. As much as it's a restriction, it might be time to take a break. So Mars conjunct the Sun energy is asking us to really lean in to get something done, and Saturn is working against that effort by throwing some pause in it or some restrictions in some way. Now, the Mercury, which is the ruler of this moon, Mercury rules the sign of Gemini. It's square Neptune in Pisces. So there could be some ambiguity here, some things you just don't know. That's why it's good to hit the pause button if you find yourself getting frustrated. Let's see. Let me find a better way to package this, perhaps. So, the Sun conjunct Mars in Saturn is all about being provoked or triggered. And although Mercury is not within orb of the Sun or Mars, it is still in the sign of Sagittarius, and it is square Neptune. So it is very possible that it could be written, verbal, text, or a phone call. It's communications that may be the trigger here. Somebody says something because it is a full moon, so there's opposites energy here. So something occurs with another individual, could be a boss, could be, who knows, parent, family member, doesn't matter, but it's that trigger that sets you off, or a situation that sets you off. Be mindful. Remember that Neptune is square Mercury. So there's some ambiguity, some things that we don't know, some things that haven't come to the surface yet. So before we get too excited, trying to thwart an effort, it might be time to hit the pause button. This energy itself is really good for creation. So if you are an artist in any way, shape, or form, and you find yourself getting frustrated, create. Great energy for any art type creation. I think that would serve you well. Even if you're not an artist and you find yourself frustrated, find an outlet that works for you, that's for sure. Next week, I believe it is on Tuesday or Wednesday, we've got Neptune is going to go direct. So that's adding to the heightened fog or illusion that is occurring right now too. So, like I said, hit the pause button when you need to. We do have Libra. Venus is in the sign of Libra, giving us that balance that we so needed, and near the South Node too. So if things just aren't worth it, it's time to set it on the shelf. Take a break, create something, come back to it when you feel the time is right. Then we move forward to Friday. Friday of this week, Mercury is going to enter the sign of Capricorn. It's a very copacetic energy. It's very practical thinking. It is very realistic, grounded communications, that's for certain. It's logical and very easy organizing your thoughts and processes, that's for sure. Be mindful of rigidity, because 3D Capricornian energy can be very strict. If this, then that. Or you could be infusing some unnecessary restriction on a situation if you drop into that 3D energy. Then on Saturday, just shortly after Mercury enters the sign of Capricorn, Mercury is going to sextile Saturn in Pisces. I really do like this energy. It is great for conceptualizing a plan. You have grounded communications and great understanding of things. But I just want to throw a bit of caution out here, please. Mercury is in retrograde shadow. And because Mercury's in retrograde shadow, we will be revisiting this energy a couple of more times before we're fully free to run with it, so to speak. We're going to be reviewing, revising, rethinking, but wait, if you can, wait till mid to end January. So a perfect example of this was yesterday, because I was getting thwarted in my efforts and trying to get the video up and out. What I decided to do was plot and plan and take a look at the lunations for the entire 2024, fact-based only. Print the charts, get the information written out that I needed to write out based on facts, not anything above and beyond that, because it's a conceptualization, not necessarily an activation of it. So I was able to use that energy. I felt the urgings of getting something done, trying to accomplish something, and knowing that if I was to stick to the facts of the situation, I know I was safe in order to plan forward without having to worry about or concern myself with any blowback from the Mercury retrograde season that we are currently in. So that's all I have for you this week. I pulled a card. I have to tell you, I pulled this card yesterday, and I had a heck of a time picking which deck, which is, again, a very Gemini theme, that's for sure. But this deck was really talking to me. This is the Field Tarot by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana. And the card that jumped out for us today is the Seven of Discs, Perseverance, which really was what I was facing yesterday. Let's see what the book has to say. The Seven of Discs is about working hard and focusing on the bigger picture rather than seeking immediate gratification. While it may be no small feat, putting the time and energy into achieving your vision will pay off. There is value in your efforts. Keywords here: diligence, long-term goals, patience, investments, and planning. And boy, I would say that card pretty much sums up this week's energy update. One more thing, if I could, please. I do want to speak very briefly. I try not to bring politics into this energy update whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I kind of keep that off the table altogether. However, there is a ceasefire currently in the crisis in the Middle East. So while there is a ceasefire, I know I'm not there. I know there's nothing I can do on site to assist, but I do make sure, especially in times of ceasefires, that I send as much positive energy, peaceful outcomes, to that area, to that region, as well as the Ukraine, just for peace and unity for all. Well, thank you so much for stopping by today. If you like this video, please do click the like button. If you want to co-create with me, please do share this video with others. If you want to know when videos are being dropped, click the subscribe button. And if you have any comments, please post them in the comment section below. I always love to hear from you. I hope you have a fabulous week. Enjoy this full moon, and also that's the move of Mercury into Capricorn. Have a fabulous week. Namaste.